Calvin, where you go, Calvin? Get back. There you go. Calvin, where you go,
change
Calvin?
your shirt?
Get back.
I can't hear you, but it's okay.
Calvin, where you go,
change your
Calvin?
shirt?
Get back.
We're live, everyone. I can't hear you, but it's okay.
Calvin, where you go,
change your
Calvin?
shirt?
Get back.
We're live,
People
everyone. A few minutes to just gather themselves.
What a weird thing.
All right, let us begin. Welcome, everyone. We are so honored to have you all join us tonight. Thank you for being here for our virtual reading, Homemade. Hello, poets, beautiful poets in the building, all from your homes. Welcome. Let's begin. So my name is Aja Monet. I'm originally a poet from Brooklyn, New York. My first full collections of poems is published on Haymarket Books, and it's called My Mother Was a Freedom Fighter. And I currently live in Little Haiti, Miami, where I am the co-founder of a grassroots collective and studio space, Smoke Signal Studio, as well as a facilitator and founder of Voices Poetry for the People in collaboration with Community Justice Project. We follow the revolutionary blueprint of June Jordan, and we create in the legacy of sovereign maroon communities across the state of Florida. Homemade Poetic Remedies for the Times is a virtual poetry reading and showcase that began in response to this COVID-19 reality, where we are being told by the state to stay home and practice social distancing. We want to offer people homemade remedies and pathways to healing, as well as medicinal poems that can offer freedom dreams, visions, and expand our imagination. Todi K. Bambara has a quote that the role of the writer is to make the revolution irresistible. And though it has been debated, Mark Fisher is credited with, it has become easier for people to imagine the end of the world than to imagine the end of capitalism. Today is May 1st, 2020, International Workers' Day. It is a celebration of the laborers and the workers. And today we are thinking about how our generation has never been met with a pandemic of this magnitude. Yet we know that poverty is a pandemic that has remained for the entirety of our lives and those before us. The vaccine must be radical collective care. I encourage you all tonight to join us in our imagining of a new way, another world. Tonight, I welcome poetry lovers and those who may have never heard a poem before, or who have long resented the poems of their schoolings or younger days. These are all poems for the people, for our hearts, our minds, and our spirits. It is a way through. I pray that everyone who has come to this reading hungry may leave fed and full, that these poems be a stimulus. May you find shelter and community where you have felt alone and isolated. May we all bail out the soul. We are social creatures and we stand in solidarity with domestic workers and reproductive labor. We center women and children in this moment and all the many children laboring in factories across the globe without acknowledgement. Each one of us, we are learning how to live with the chaos within us. And we are constantly trying to reconcile who we are and who we want to be, to uncover the majestic mystery within all of us and to create a way through. It may be difficult to get the news from poems, yet men die miserably every day for lack of what is found there. Thank you all for joining us this evening and welcome to Homemade. Now, let's get into it. We're ready to get into it. Our first poet, I'm so honored to have this poet all the way from London town, Ben Connors, who you've seen some of the artwork, he's designed the flyers. His daughter is an incredible young artist, visual artist, poet, and I believe that we can't even get through this moment without looking to the imagination of our young people and hearing their voices. So we have to start tonight with Nyla. Please join me in welcoming to the virtual stage, Nyla.
My rainbow. Nurses, doctors, surgeons, grocery workers, post office workers, mailers, people who clean up after you when they shouldn't have to, people who are trying to make a difference, people who take care of us. I feel safer and supported knowing they're out there. If they help us, we should support them too. You should really read Maya Angelou. She gives you inspiration words like be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. And all around the world, people are making rainbows to say thank you to the key workers. Here's a rainbow just for you. Red is for passion, moving through your blood. Orange is for health, like vitamins, fruit, and fitness. Yellow is for Yellow is for your brightest thoughts, your imagination, and positivity. Green is for Mother Nature and the environment. Taking care of your environment, people are part of the environment, so this is your home. Blue is for royalty. Royalty doesn't mean you're rich with filthy money. It means you're important. The people looking after us are important. They should have the crown. Violet is for bravest, together now and in history. Indigo is for love and courage. Nurses, doctors, surgeons, grocery workers, post office workers, mailers, people who clean up after you when they shouldn't have to, people who are trying to make a difference, people who take care of us. Poems and potions. I am writing a poem. A poem is like a potion. First, you need a tube of apostrophes, a sprinkle of edit, you need to grind up adjectives, and you need a sprinkle of inspiration. And you need a crystal of love. If you drop it onto the page, you'll have a perfect poem. If you were to add a little petal of braveness, you would be really happy no matter what bad things might happen. You won't be able to stop reading or drawing or whatever your heart is telling you to be. Poetry is the cure if you're feeling a bit down, how you can make other people feel happy too. Words are like little babies that grow into huge giants.
Thank you so much, Nyla.
Thank you.
How was it writing those poems?
Good.
Yeah? How are you handling this time right now?
I'm handling it good.
Thank you so much for all of your creativity. I appreciate you. Thank you, Sarah, who's somewhere behind there too.
Hey.
And Ben, you guys are amazing parents. I'm so grateful for you both. Thank you guys. Everyone, please give it up for Nyla. Shower her with how you felt. Loves.
Beautiful job. Beautiful job.
That was so wonderful, Nyla.
Okay. Now we're going to move on to the next poet of the evening. Well, poets, it's a collective. So, but the first poet who is leading and facilitating this collective is a poet who I admire very much. We've been able with Poetry for the People to talk to Mark Nowak about his most recent book, Social Poetics. I encourage everyone to please read this book if you get a chance. It is especially poets, but definitely organizers. It has given words and language to a lot of things that I feel I could not find the words for, and that's always a blessing. So we want to give it up for Mark Nowak of Social Poetics and the Workers Writers School.
Thank you. Happy May Day to everybody. When Aja asked me to present, I asked her if it would be okay if a couple workers from the Worker Writers School could present in front of me instead of me. So I'm just going to say a couple of words and then introduce them, and they will take over. So Social Poetics does two things. It tries to document the history of poetry workshops in moments of uprising and revolution from the 1960s until today. And it simultaneously talks about the work we've been doing in collaboration with PEN America for the last 10 years now at the Worker Writers School. The Worker Writers School offers free creative writing workshops, poetry workshops to workers from worker centers around New York City. We currently have about 6 or 7 collaborating organizations: Domestic Workers United, the New York Taxi Workers Alliance, Damian Migrant Workers Association, the Street Vendor Project, and others. We've also recently, most of the workers in the Worker Writers School are frontline workers in New York City, and we've started a project called the Coronavirus Haiku Project, and you'll hear some work from workers in Social Poetics and a couple of the works from the Coronavirus Haiku Project. So the first reader will be Christine Yvette Lewis, who is the Secretary Cultural Organizer for Domestic Workers United. They were the group that passed the first ever Bill of Rights for domestic workers in the United States, signed in by Governor Patterson. And the second reader will be Alando McIntyre, a public school teacher who will actually be writing about his fairly lengthy career at Golden Crust Restaurant in Brooklyn. Christine Lewis.
Right. As Mark said before, my name is Christine Lewis, and I'm an organizer with Domestic Workers United in New York. Price of migration equals slave labor. Cotton picking days ain't over. Madam List, grow, glow, grow. Light housekeeping with walk dog. Let baby be first priority. Madam List, grow, glow, grow. Island woman warm spirit vex. Let baby be first priority. US dollar controls Manhattan East. Island woman warm spirit vex. Scoop ship from shitty sidewalk. US dollar controls Manhattan East. Unlike Tobago's tobacco, sunny soil. Scoop ship from shitty sidewalk. Times classify ad never spell this. Unlike Tobago's tobacco, sunny soil. Work never been this hard. Times classify ad never spell this. Price of migration means yes, ma'am. Work never been this hard. Baby, unrelated burden, pushed along Avenue Dank. Price of migration means yes, ma'am. Light housekeeping, walk dog, baby, unrelated burden, pushed along Avenue Dank. Cotton picking days ain't over. And that was a pantun. So we, in the writers workshop, we have done a couple coronaviruses poem, and I'll share 2 with you right now. Dismal season. Then I am reminded seeds sprout from cracks in concrete. 4 blocks empty. A bitch tied to one wrist. Summer madness on repeat. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. As Mark said, my name is Alando McIntyre. I start off with this haiku that we've been working on for the coronavirus haiku project with the Worker Writers School. Window glass reflects temporal intersections plotting on freedom. And the second piece I'm going to do is called Language. And it's, at the time when I wrote it, I was a worker at a Golden Cross as a cashier. So it's an interesting experience. And I was using the things I use every day, to kind of speak my truth. And, you're going to hear a lot of food references. So if you have any questions afterwards, please ask. All right. I speak a broken, ever-morphing, syncopated language. The bruised back, swollen feet from standing in the salt marshes too long type of language. I speak the language of oppression, the language of dereliction, no more chicken patties, just beef. You want them in a separate box, forced to speak, paid to smile, give them a fake smile kind of language. The stealing away of oneself kind of language. Me talk it racha, but them not understand me. Small like stay with rice and peas, no more meat in the soup, a unfulfilled type of language. The language of resistance is dissatisfied language. Only the boss and our brother can afford to take a vacation. And everybody else has struggled for parents, so we smile, the plastic smile kind of language. I speak the language of broken peoples pretending to be whole. The language of the ones who bear the scars, stella play brilli p halapa pelepen ilipin folopont alapan billy p halapine billy p balapars to drink some coconut water cause it's good for the heart. Some carrot juice will give you better eyesight. Some ackee and saltfish with yam bananas and dumpling to start the morning right. Master used to pay us with corn. So we'll make hominy corn porridge, Brother Nancy Survival 101 kind of language. $200 a week. Bills past my head. Another black body laid out dead. Hillary Clinton have the hot sauce in her bag, and so many Haitians can't tell when last them sleep on a bed. We were never meant to survive. So I sing the song of the clan frozen in a perpetual state of mourning. The Ezekiel saw the wheel kind of language. The displacement of blackened bodies, the forgotten language. The white man in them suits said them don't understand the language. Don't want this no more. Beat the kettle drum, play a little poco, let me reconnect with the Maroons, cause that are my kind of language. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mark, do you want to share any ways that folks can follow the work of Worker Writer School? And then you all can also share any ways that people can support you both.
Yeah, we've been publishing a lot of the work on both our Twitter at Worker Writers and Instagram, the Worker Writer School. And so you can find us there, events we do around New York City and elsewhere.
Thank you. And Christine and Alando?
Yes, so I am organizing, DWU is organizing a fundship drive to help 75 women in our network. And Aja, if you could go on my page and see it, I guess you could share it with the network. Yeah, so we want to gain some funds to be able to help those displaced workers. Yeah, workers who are working in the shadows, women who are the invisible workforce, women who are not included in this stimulus package, but almost living in fear, but privy to because they also essential workers, are essential workers. And that's what I'm about right now. And the organizing, trying to establish this fundship drive. And New York Women Foundation has really been generous to DWU, but keeping the flames going, yes? So, you could lift it from my page and share it with the rest of the network.
Thank you. And Alando?
Right now, Aja, I am not really working on anything special. Just teaching and trying to navigate this new remote learning environment. So that's kind of where my focus along with writing. But I'm just grateful to be here with all these talented people.
Thank you. Thank you all. So grateful. Moving right along. We're going to welcome Sonia. I hope I'm saying this right, Sonia. Correct me, okay? Guinansaca, queer migrant poet, performer, activist, cultural strategist, self-published, badass. ASS, right? And for her debut book, chapbook, Nostalgia and Borders, she does incredible work with Culture Strike, and she's just an incredible cultural organizer. She's a beautiful poet, and I'm so inspired by the work that she does. So please join me in welcoming to the virtual stage, Sonia.
Thank you, Aja, for that. And thank you, everyone. My name is Sonia Guinansaca, and I'm here going to be sharing with you poems from Los Angeles. A majority of my family is up in Harlem, New York. And so I'm really holding dear to my heart my mother and other femmes of color who are just holding it down for many of our families and our kindred folks during this pandemic. And so I'm going to kick off with Glory. Glory. Mi mamá se levanta. A las 7 de la mañana se baña sus pies bendecidos en agua. Es divina. Después empieza con su maquillaje. Her brown hands gently holding the black eyeliner for a migrant woman. These are lines she welcomes. She then carefully places her dark brown hair in a bun, carefully placing bobby pins, like carefully placing lipstick, like carefully placing hope on land. Mommy's knowledge teaches me that my wings are meant to be thick, meant to take up space. These are the rituals I grew up with, so I repeat every morning, creating self into existence. Between lipstick and softness, between borders and belonging, these are ways I survive, so I repeat. Arching my eyebrows, jewelry over my neck, red nails pointy enough to hold homes. Homes I left, homes I building, so I repeat. Adorning all of my genders like the gospel never sung at my church. This, we become biblical. Let this be an ode to femmes of colors whose celestial eye shadows crack the heavens, whose thick thighs resurrect possibilities. So I repeat, what glory we incite, what glory we create, what glory we fucking are. And thank you. It's like awkward, like not sure if people are applauding. So I really appreciate the love, the virtual love. Today is May Day and it is International Workers Day. So I'm uplifting and bringing into the space undocumented workers who are on the front line, who are delivering food, who are right now striking Amazon, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, workers who are also like unemployed, people who are sex workers, healers, doulas, who need our support during this pandemic, who are oftentimes left out of policies, and they're the ones who need it the most. And so the next piece that I have for you is called America Runs on Immigrants. My mother works on the 23rd floor of a glass building in the middle of Times Square as a server of a catering company. My father rides the train home from work. In his backpack, he carries a pair of Timbs with blotches of oil. Neither of them have eaten. The thing about America is that migrant workers go days without properly eating so that America can function. My mother, who goes by Maggie, will stand for 8 hours straight, bouncing on the balls of her feet to catch any demands by white professionals that for some reason know how to work a Google Drive, but have no idea how to make their own damn coffee. My father, who goes by Segundo, ironically is always first to cook, first to burn his hands, first to serve, first to deliver so that men in suits can get their rushed lunch order. My mother and father never get days off or paid holidays or bonuses or a 401k or healthcare. My mother and father depend on the power of Vicks, hot tea, and prayers to la Virgen. Sometimes my father and mother do not feel like mine. They belong to this country. My mother does not see father. My father does not see his brother. My siblings don't see mom or dad. America sees them at all times. America sees our parents more often than we do at 4 a.m., 7 p.m., 11 p.m., and midnight. My 9-year-old brother clasps his tiny brown hands to pray, Diosito, please take care of mom. My father carries our old school photos in his wallet, folded gently, not to crease our faces. This is how he looks after us. This is how he holds on to us. My mother carries a large purse with all of our documents because, just in case. They both accommodate American routines by moving around birthdays and bautismos and weddings. America is a spoiled brat wanting more and more and more. America screams, go back to your country. Stop stealing our jobs. and simultaneously will whine, "Where is my lunch?" And the final piece that I have for you is a collaboration that I did with Julio Salgado, who's an undocumented visual artist. And with the prompt of Adrienne Maurice Brown, we were imagining what this post-COVID may look like for our communities. And so this is called "And When People Woke Up, They Were Safe." And people stayed home. And when people woke up, they were safe. And even though many people like janitors, cook, street vendors, grocery workers, delivery people, nannies, electricians, construction workers, landscapers, and domestic workers still had to go to work, they were safe and appreciated. None of them feared being deported. No one dared to call them unskilled workers. They were granted health care, amnesty, and paid above minimum wage, and had paid time off because a new policy was put in place, so no one had to choose between paying bills and staying safely home. Their bosses called them to say thank you, and when they were done with their shifts, they went home and their family waited for them. No one stopped them on the train to harass them or blame the foreign virus on them. And when it was time to take a hot shower after a long day, they had running water. And the lights in the bathroom turned on. And finally, for the first time in a long time, they put their feet up, undid their hair bun, ate dinner that was warm, and drank chamomile tea. And when they turned the news on, it was informative, and everyone cared about other countries, and news broke out about borders coming down and people being let out of detention centers and jails. And on the TV, you saw migrants welcomed into beautiful freedom centers being met by healers, healthcare providers, and helpers who spoke multiple languages. And they were given warm clothes and fresh food from local farms, and children were reunited with their parents, and migrant children had childhoods, and everyone was given homes. No one was ever homeless in this country. And everyone relaxed and rested and loved, and everyone cared for the earth, and people stayed home. And when people woke up, they were all safe. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, and really honored to be in this reading, uplifting all the workers across the country, across the globe, and we'll be okay. Like, we'll make it through all of this. Thank you, Aja.
Thank you, Sonia. I really appreciate you saying yes. Thank you so much for those poems. Give it up. Give it up. Please share your love with the poets. If you have anything you want to share with the poets, any words of comments, support, affirmations. The next poet coming to the virtual stage. So I have a little set list here. I learned about this poet because I had another amazing, credible poet and friend who I'm like a wordsmith, just, I don't know what you call him, is just doing everything with words. But his name is Tango, and I send Martin, and he recommended Ayodele, word slanger Nzinga, who is a transformative arts educator, bringing imagination to life and life to imagination. I am so honored to have this poet, who's also a performing artist, a life coach, and overall joy to witness and hear. So please join me in welcoming to the virtual stage, Ayodele.
Hello, everybody. Aja, thank you so much for this. This has been so wonderful. So the first piece I have is called Discontinued. Dispossessed in America, a discontinued import, left on the shelf, shuffled in warehouse, placeholders, redlined into neighborhoods they will build in like worker ants, creating everything. Bombed, burned, envied, feared, fenced in by freeways, torn down in urban renewal, polluted across railroad tracks, poorly lit infested with poverty, persistently bound, bordered, berated, plotted against, in quiet rooms that reek of cotton and confusion about what to do with what grew from ocean rise and how to keep the seeds unbalanced, discovering new ways to stop their infatigable resilience, their ocean waveness, their growing strong in stormness, their eye on the horizon, expecting the arrival of the prizeness without reason for hope that you can see out loud, buried deep in bloodlines, crossing continents, remaining unbroken, refusing to be undone, growing towards the sun in harmony with invisible music. God's hands must surely be at work here. I mean, even a blind man can see that. This next piece is called The Death of Innocence. The innocence that wrote love poems and captured beauty like life could be kept fireflied in a bottle, fled slowly, leaving pragmatism on the dresser in a shade of clouded jade. There's little to say of love or beauty. Both fade, die loud or silent death, suffocated under life, which is funkier than you might imagine in innocence, where optimism lives, precariously perched on pearly possibilities. The possible always looks smaller in rearview mirrors. The reason appears larger in rooms where torches have been passed. Memories demand attention, guiding action and inaction. Where is innocence? We all baptized in the blood. We are Emmett Till. We are Amadou Diallo. We are Oscar Grant, Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown. We are Legion. Too many names for innocence to remain. We know someone must speak. The teeth, the blood, with swords screaming vengeance, balancing scales, sand weighed against blood. No ink can hold this tragedy, this cotton-fueled feud sprung out of the ocean raids that made warriors slaves. No ink can hold a truth, bound, twisted, buried, invisible. We know because we remember. We do not have to be told. We don't have to be told any more than the bones say. We need no more than the dust knows. The dust knows all. It says there is no innocence, just blindness. We know. Knowing writes different poems. It knows the salt of the tale, refuses to be distracted. It knows. It listens to the bones. It remembers struggle. It knows sweat, persistence, ingenuity. It longs for even ground on which to stand. It knows forward. It knows storm, knows blues. It knows, so it breathes fire, won't be quiet or still. No harmonics in chaos. 3 eyes on the prize, fire on the water poems, dust and bone poems that talk back to cotton, vowing to unwrite ink and remember being born free with dignity and everything. Poems that sing harvest songs written by old women who dream the bones, remembering, knowing. So we know. The last piece is called The Accounting. When the wolves and sheep are counted, when the scales are finally balanced, when justice can see, when the clarion sounds and the good men come forth, where will you be? When the times of camels and needles' eyes is upon us like a coat in the winter. Where will you be? Will you be with us or constricted by the sins of your father, your own sins, the smell of insatiable greed, eyes closed deaf to the sound of children, forests, oceans dying, when it all falls down? And it will. Where will you be? When the false cover of innocence is obliterated and we are naked with what we did and did not do, with what we let transpire in our name, what we pushed against, profited from, let occur, did not stop, lived with, considered collateral. When the price is extracted for standing by, when both innocence and ignorance are not recognized as a defense for bloodied hands, where will you be when you understand that some stains can't be removed? Where are you now while the air trembles with purpose? I'm gonna need you to choose life or death. Choose. We are interconnected, bound by blood, twisted like coils of DNA. We are one as surely as there's only one sky. What happens to one will fall like plague upon all. Dig one hole, dig two. The second one's for you. Where will you be when right prevails, and it will? Where will you be when the cups are righted, the books are done, and the cost demanded for what you brought with the breath in your lungs? When the prayer enacted by your hands has a life of its own? Where will you be? Thank you.
Y'all gonna have to give her the praise that's due right now, because that's... Go ahead and unmute. Go ahead, y'all can unmute.
That was wonderful.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Heart is pounding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I want to say, it was wonderful to hear some Jamaican words earlier. It was nice to hear the language of, like, it feels like Jamaican to me. I mean, I'm not sure exactly, but it did.
Oh. Thank you.
It's Jamaican, Staceyann. Yeah, Kingston. I was born in Kingston, Jubilee Hospital.
Yeah.
And Ayodele, your words are. I was baptized over here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Ayodele. That was medicine, for real. That was medicine. That's exactly what I know I needed. Moving on to the next poet. Thank you so much, y'all. This is y'all gonna have me crying by the end of this, but I'm gonna keep it together. I want to have you all join me in welcoming this incredible poet. I've been a fan, low key, lurking in the interspheres of the bushes of the internets, just watching and reading poems along the way. And when I was trying to come up with a list of poets, I reached out to, which I will do with all you, I reached out to a few, because each reading is curated, and both Tango and Zaina and like a few other people were like, Wendy, for sure. And I was like, oh, do you think she'll say yes? And I just tried, I reached out, and I just want to thank you for saying yes. Wendy is a poet born and raised in Grand Valley in South Texas, and is also an author of Cruel Fiction. If I have some of the books around me, I'm going to give them some love. So please go support her poems.